Hello everyone. So we want to talk about Venus moving back to where it was when it first began going retrograde a couple months ago. And when it first began going retro, it was also squaring Neptune. So now Venus is returning to that point, and it's also going to square Neptune again for the final time. So this is clearly a culmination, right? It's like returning to the same state it was before this whole process. And within that, before any kind of culmination, it's very, very normal, very natural for there to be a feeling of confusion, for the mind to not necessarily feel very organized, not have a strong grasp on where the resolution or where clarity is going to come in. So it's really great to have that faith and that understanding that this is almost an archetypal experience. And so let's talk a little bit about the different players that we have involved here. In many ways, Venus beginning to go direct, and it's been building momentum for the past month plus in Gemini, is the resolution of many of the karmic dynamics that we've been playing out in our relationships, in our relationships to money, and ultimately all of these things in the external world, things and people. It will always reflect our own self-value, and that the world is perfectly transparent in that way, and that nothing is kept secret. Our inner reality, how we actually feel about ourselves, has no choice but to manifest externally. And what happens with Venus is we often find ourselves in this never-ending grasping and trying to possess and control our circumstances from the outside to arrive at a state of balance and harmony and resonance and connection. And it's basically needing our value to come from the outside. And it doesn't work. It's like that those efforts actually never yield the kind of results that we want. And so a big part of this Venus retro period, and it's moving direct, is it can actually feel like there's a lot of karmic dynamics that are just coming up. But if we can really glean the self-awareness and the self-knowledge that at the core, this speaks to our fundamental sense of self, our underlying self-value, then we can begin to bring some peace and permission and space and less fear. The issue of the Venus anywhere is possessiveness. So it's in a sense trying to say, all of these things define me. It's my relationship, it's my money, and we define our sense of self according to all of those things. And the square to Neptune is really just dissolving all of the constructs that we have in our mind. It's really strong, moving into an exact square with Neptune for the third time, and it's the last time in the cycle. It's really calling us towards forgiveness. All of the ways in which we've tried to organize one another, to create intellectual cohesion so that we can feel secure and to know what everything is for and who everything is for and what it's all about according to our own mental conclusions. The thing that keeps us from grace and from peace and from forgiveness is that we've all decided to set up camp, to ground ourselves and establish a life at impartial information. We know so little about one another. We have a very limited context, and yet we feel entitled to offer our judgments and to form our conclusions because it does create safety. And an issue with Neptune is there can be an immense amount of fear and insecurity in all of the meaning that we've created, what we've decided is true, and in this case about our lives, about one another, about what we're doing and how are things supposed to go. When all of that is not what we thought it can be, there can be this disillusionment of not knowing what's true, especially with Gemini, where there's a lot of information. Like, what's true? What's false? Who do I believe? Who do I trust? Right? Who can actually give me what I need? And what it does is it actually brings us to face all the ways in which we've created this reality that seems normal, it seems acceptable, but it's actually quite insane. This reality being where the outer world has to fit into something that makes sense for us to feel secure. And the disillusionment here is all of that potentially not working, and Venus's expectations, and thus projections, and it just all falls away. It doesn't stand. Like, there's no validity to it. And we face that by either trying to hold on to our dreams, our projections even more strongly. It's like, you know, you're in a storm and it's cloudy and it's raining and there's thunder and there's lightning and you're like, it's sunny. Oh, it's such a sunny. Like, you can do that. Or you can just fall into like a deep surrender, and there can be immense despair. And something that I've been really working with is just in some relationships and dynamics in my life, feeling this immense despair. Like, where's salvation? Where's resolution? Where's peace in that? And we were talking yesterday, and I was sharing that it's like I can feel a slimmer of light, like a beam of light that is directing me towards truth, but it's imperceptible, and it's like, oh, can I really believe it? Can I really trust in that? And something that I'm learning, that I feel we're learning, and I really offer as a prayer for all of us, is like the revelation of the truth, reality itself. It's not something we can make happen. Reality reveals itself. What's true reveals itself. But becoming aware of our illusions, and then just becoming humble, turning to prayer and earnestly wanting to know the truth, asking for our minds to be corrected, and noticing how much suffering we experience when we really want to know, when we really want to hold on to what we know and what we think and what we've decided. So it's a prayer for grace and forgiveness, and reality, source, truth actually steps in for us. And I believe that this is really a natural process, and clarity and healing wants to happen, and we don't have to make it happen. So
there's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, I don't know what anything is for. And I feel like during a retrograde, we're naturally initiated into a journey. As the planet is going to move forward and backwards and forwards again, there's like an inner and outer process of what life is revealing to us about our learning and about where we are in our own personal journey. And the impulse to decide, to know, to make story real often blocks the healing that is wanting to happen. And when I like connect with that line, it's like my heart can open, and I can feel the tenderness of like, I don't know what this is for. I don't know why this is happening now. And it's happening. But imagine if love was the only thing that was happening, how the miracle could come through naturally, versus my story about what's happening, which is so ancient and so rooted in past hurts and past conditions. And a lot of my, when Ari was talking about Venus related to possession, for me it's been about Venus related to wanting what I want, the needs that I want, the things that I want to be met, and how wanting is rooted in the absence. And thus, all the ways in which I'm abandoning myself and seeking source outside and missing the enoughness that is here, missing the present moment because I'm wanting so badly something else to be happening, or caught in the fantasy. And I think this is where Neptune can easily be the journey back to source from the disillusionment of separation, from this place of like, I'm separate from you, I want something from you, I need to have this in order to be complete. And all that sets up an inner emptiness and grasping that is not true. That's not the truth of who we are. And the opposite of wanting is actually having having rests in the present moment, having acknowledges that who we are, what we are, where we are is enough right now. And then coming back to that empty place in my mind where I don't know what any of this is for. I have just felt so much healing come through that openness, and so much love, and so much more, like, my mind can open, my eyes can see something completely different in the world. So anyway, blessings on your journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.